Okay, this is the video for the November 2023 M4 mathematics paper. So this is the solutions for it. First question we have got this. We have got a scatter graph that shows information about how many times a day people check their phones. So you can see it's a negative correlation. The reason it's a negative correlation is it slopes downwards like this. So if you did a line of best fit, it would look very roughly like that. This point here is what's an outlier, and that's what the two questions are about. Next page asks you what type of correlation is it, and what is that point, and that point is 60, 102. So the answer is very simply, it is negative correlation, and that is what's called an outlier. Okay, so an outlier is just a point which is maybe something has gone wrong. Either this is someone who completely bucks the trend, so they do something completely different, or else maybe it is someone who has collected the data in an incorrect way. So what quite often happens is you do something which is called cleaning the data, which basically you would ignore that outlier. Okay, next one says a sports referee trains by running diagonally across a rectangular pitch as shown. The referee wants to run a distance of at least 1 kilometre. How many diagonals, and I'm guessing it means here complete diagonals, does he need to run to do this? So let's work out, using this wee triangle, it's going to be Pythagoras. So x is going to be equal to the square root of 85 squared plus 110 squared. Square root that, and what I got when I did that was, my x value was 139.01439 meters. So I've worked to 5 decimal places here. 1 kilometre is 1,000 metres, so let's see how many lots of these diagonals we need to do by dividing. And if you divide, you get 7.1935. So that's going to be then 8 whole diagonals he would need to run then. Okay, so if he wants to do 1 kilometre, he's going to have to do that 8 whole times. Next question is a nice easy question. Very nice easy question. It says find the area of this kite below. For a kite, the area is a half times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So in this case, a half times 4 times 9. You can do that without a calculator. Half times 4 is 2 times 9 is 18 centimetres squared. Next question, we have got a Venn diagram. It says a company took 42 employees on a team building day. Each person was able to choose which sporting activities to do and whether or not to have lunch. So you can see all of these people in here go climbing. All of these people in here go abseiling. And all of these people here have lunch. Okay. So it says how many people did not take part in either of the sporting activities. The only people who didn't take part in any sporting activities were these 4 people. Everyone else did at least climbing or abseiling, and some of them did both. So there are 4 people who just went for lunch, didn't bother doing any sporting activities. How many people did not have lunch? So these 5 people, these 3 people, and these 7 didn't have lunch. So let's just add these whatever way is easiest. So 5 plus 3 plus 7. 3 plus 7 is 10 plus 5 is going to be 15. And the last part of that one, the cost for someone to take part in a sporting activity and have lunch was £16. How much did the company pay for people who took part in one sporting activity and had lunch? So one sporting activity and lunch were these people here, the 9 and the 2. So it's just going to be, you've got 9 plus 2, which is 11 obviously, and then times 16. So 11 times 16, which is £176. Next question says, find the coordinates, C is coordinate of -2, 4, D is coordinate of 8, 7, find the coordinates of the midpoint. The midpoint, to get the midpoint, you add the 2 x values and divide by 2. Add the 2 y values and divide by 2. So that's going to be 6 divided by 2, which is 3. 11 divided by 2, which is 5.5. So 3, 5.5. So that's a nice question. Next one says a graph represents a fare in pounds for a taxi journey of a distance in miles. Paula was charged £8.40. So if you have a look here, £8.40. So every wee square vertically is a fifth of a pound. So 2 squares then is going to take you up to £8.40. 2 squares beyond the 8, I should say. So £8.40 go across and down. And when I did that, I think I got a nice answer. So across and down, use your graph, draw this in. Draw this in, please. So across and down, and you can see from my diagram, I'm hitting at 5. So it's 5 miles. What was the cost per mile charged by the taxi firm? Okay, first of all, the cost per mile is equivalent to the gradient. So this is a rise over run, vertical change over horizontal change, whatever way you want to look at it. So I've picked 2 nice points. I can see here is a nice point. I can read off that point is what? 7, 10. And another nice point is here. And it was 2, 6. So it's just your vertical change divided by your horizontal change. My vertical change is 4. My horizontal change from here to here would have been 5. So we're going to have, my gradient is 4 over 5, which is 0.8. So that's 0.8 pounds, probably nicer to say 80 pence. Next question says, Raymond's car insurance quote is £1,200 or £1,200 for a year. He's entitled to 30% off for his no claims discount. He pays online. He will get 5% off the reduced price. How much will the online price be? So that was the original. He gets 30% off. So get that by multiplying by 0.7 and another 5% off. So it goes down to it goes on to 95. So that's what we do. And if you did that, I got 798. Okay, Raymond's father says the total discount was 35%. Is he correct? Well, let's look and see. So percentage discount is equal to the discount divided by the original and then times 100. Okay, that's a lovely wee formula. This word and this word can change to anything. So if it had been percentage profit, it would be profit over the original times 100%. Percentage loss, it would be percentage loss would be equal to the loss over the original times 100. So it makes it easy to work out. So the loss, the discount, do your 1200 minus 798 and you'll get 402 over the 1200 and then times by 100%. And what I got was 33.5%. So his dad said it was the same as 35. So he is not correct. Number 8, we have got this. Got to solve this. A lovely wee question. Just bring the 5 across and it adds. So that is x over 3 is equal to 7. And then bring the 3 across and it multiplies. So x is equal to 21. Next one, lowest common multiple of 60 and 36. Divide 60 by 2, you get 30. Divide by 2 again, you get 15. Divide by 3, you get 5. Divide by 5, you get 1. So my 60, write it in index form. I've got a nice wee video on this, how you do highest common factors and lowest common multiples. So 2 to the power of 2 times 3 times 5. Your 36, divide by 2 to give you 18, divide by 2 to give you 9, divide by 3 to give you 3, divide by 3 to give you 1. So the 36 written in index form is 2 squared times 3 squared. So the lowest common multiple, you take the biggest of each different kind of thing. So I have 2 squared and 2 squared, biggest is 2 squared. I have 3 squared and 3, the biggest is 3 squared. And I have a 5, and don't do what I've done here, I haven't actually worked that out. What is that going to be? That is going to be 4 times 9 times 5. Let's do that the easiest way we can. 4 times 5 is 20, and then times 9 would be 180. Okay. Next of all, we have got this. A rectangle has a length of x plus 5 and a breadth of x plus 2. The area of the rectangle is 54. Jacob is asked to find the value of x. Oh, so they've worked through this question for you. He starts his solution as shown and continue the solution of the equation to find the value. So what he's done, first of all, he's put the area, one side times another, equal to 54. He's then multiplied that out and got 54, and then he's tidied it up, very good. And then all we'll do is bring everything to one side. So it's equal to 0. So you'll have x squared plus 7x minus 44 is equal to 0. And then my sum is equal to 7, and my product is equal to minus 44. So minus 44, it would work out to be 11 times minus 4. So that means you can jump straight to it in this one. That's going to be x plus 11, x minus 4 equals 0, which means x plus 11 equals 0, which means x equals minus 11, or x minus 4 equals 0, which means x equals 4. This one, because it's length, that's not going to be possible. So my answer is just, in this case, is x equals 4. Question 11 says, show that 3x minus 1 all over 2 plus 11 minus 7x all over 6 simplifies to a single fraction, x plus 4 over 3. The first thing you've got to do here is take a common denominator. So I'm going to take a common denominator of 6. So this top line here is already over 6, so it's fine, leave it as it is. And it was plus, and this one, you need to multiply this by 3 to get 6, so you need to also multiply this top line by 3. So this is the nicest way to set it out. So then just work down your page, multiply that top line, you're going to get 9x minus 3 plus 11 minus 7x, which tidies up to be just 2x plus 8 all over 6. And then that would then factorize, you could factorize out a 2, leaving you x plus 4 inside a bracket all over 6. And then 2 goes into itself once, and 2 goes into the 6 3 times, and that's what you were looking for. It was indeed. Lovely. Okay, next question. Nice question. It's a sort of different way than I've seen him asking this in a while. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But it says here you've got A, B, C, and D are 4 straight lines. C and D are parallel. The equations of 3 of the lines are, so y equals 4x. So y equals 4x is going to be D because its intercept is the origin, so that's why that one's D. The next one is y is equal to, it's obvious to me, is y equals 5 is a horizontal line. So that's your y equals 5 one here. Here I'll mark that D on, it's y is equal to 4x. And then this one, let's rearrange this one, it's y is equal to minus 4x plus 5. So it's got a negative gradient and a negative gradient, and it goes through 5. So that tells you that this point here must be 5. We already would have known that, I suppose, because y equals 5 goes through it. So that is my line, that was my line A. And then, so C must be my last line. Use this information to find the equation of your last line. So your line C, first of all, C is, well, what were we told? It was parallel to D, which means its gradient, M, is equal to 4. And it goes through the same point that A does. So its y-intercept is 5. So the equation of C is y is equal to 4x plus 5. Next page says a force of 240 newtons is applied to brake pad with an area of 0.32 meters squared. Calculate pressure produced. Pressure is equal to force divided by area. So your pressure is equal to 240 newtons divided by 0.32. And if you do that, you just get 750, and it's going to be newtons. Oops, sorry, it's not newtons per meter squared. Apologies, newtons per meter squared. And you would need to put the units in. Next question says a circular pizza is cut into 6 equal pizza slices. The pizza has a diameter of 10 inches. I'm going to say that my radius is equal to 5. If 2 slices are eaten, what is the fraction remaining? So what is remaining? There would be 2 slices are eaten, so 4 slices are left. So it's 4/6 of the pizza. So 4/6 times pi r squared, which is just 4/6 times pi times 5 squared, which works out to be 50 over 3 pi. And they haven't said to give it in terms of pi, have they? No, I'm going to say that's 52.36, and then that's inches squared, or square inches. Question 15. Okay, calculate an interquartile range. So to find the interquartile range, what you have to do first is put things in order, and they've been very nice to us here. They're already in ascending order. That's great. So if you count up the number of values, I counted up that there were 10 values, so my n is equal to 10. How you get the position of the lower quartile, it's a quarter times n plus 1th value. That's what it is. So there were 10 values, so n is 10, n plus 1 then would be 11. Quarter times the 11th value is a 2.75. That is the value it is. Now it is good enough for you to just find the second and the third. So there's your second and there's your third, and halfway between them. So I'm just showing the working out here. I know I don't need to when they're the same thing, but 25 plus 25 divided by 2 is still 25. So I just go through that again. It was the 2.75 value, if you imagine what I'm saying. And that means halfway between, it's good enough just to find halfway between the second and the third value. So add your second value, add your third value, divide by 2. We also needed to find the upper quartile because we're looking for the interquartile range. So equate 3/4 times n plus 1th value. And if you do that, that's going to be 3/4 times the 11 then. And value. And if you do that, that gives you the 8.25 or 8 1/4 value. So again, halfway between the 8th value and the 9th value. Let me just check. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So the 8th and the 9th are these two. So it's going to be 31 plus 34, divide by 2, and I have done that earlier on, and I got 32.5. What you need to do then is to find the interquartile range. The interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lowest quartile. So 32.5 minus 25. That's a lot of work to do for this question, isn't it, for just 2 marks? So that's just 7.5. So for 2 marks, you had to do all that. That seems like a harsh way of doing it. Okay, for the data in A, for the data in A, which average would be most representative? So the average is going to be the median. And if you have a look at A, first of all, there's 3 averages you could use. You could use the mode, the mean or the median. Now, if you did the mode, there's 2 values which appear more than once. So there's 2 modes. It's what's called bimodal. If anything's bimodal, it's not really doesn't really help you if something's bimodal. Also, the mean. If you did the mean, the problem with the mean is it would be affected by this extreme value, because most of the values are below 30 or 34 below, except for this one extreme value. So what that one extreme value would do, it would distort the mean. So what I'm going to say here, use the median, because I'm going to omit the bit about it's only 2 marks. I think you're getting a mark for saying the median, and I think the other mark would be really saying about not to use the mean. So I'm saying, so you're using the median because it is not, let's say, distorted or impacted. I'll use the word impacted, or you could use affected or whatever. I'm going to say not impacted by the extreme value. Okay, just to give you a really easy example of why that is for the median. There's 5 numbers. The mean of those 5 numbers is 3. The median is also 3. But if I change that, and I change that 5 to 5,000, the median is still 3, but the mean is going to be wildly different. So if you, there's 5 numbers. The median is still 3, but the mean would be distorted. That would that 5,000 is going to distort the average. Okay, so median is not distorted by extreme values. Next question. Right, this isn't going to look nice on this thing. It's very hard to draw lines onto this. But you've got 90 apprentices sat an engineering examination. The cumulative frequency graph for the results shown. Use the graph to estimate the median mark. There's 90 things, so what you do is go across at 45. That's not bad actually. Go across at 45 and down. And when I went across at 45 and down, that isn't too bad actually. Yep, you know what, I'll go with that. That looks, that's going to be 38. So 38 or 39, and they'll give you a wee bit of leeway. But mark your diagram on, mark on your diagram this. You may have done this, got slightly different, but if you've used your diagram, you should get it right. The pass mark was 34. So the pass mark was 34. It asks you how many people, how many apprentices pass. So you go up at 34. So there is your 34. I went up at 34 and then across. And when I went across from 34, that's what it got me to. So that was 36 people. So 36 people got 34 or less. There were 90 people then. Minus 34 gives you 54 people. Okay, question 17 I think we're on. Happy days, yep. Quite a bit to go still, unfortunately. Okay, table below shows information about ages of a company's workforce. If you total them up, what you get is a total of 1,584 people. Question says, the owner of the company wants to carry out a survey on health and well-being. He decides to take a stratified sample of 100. Explain why it is appropriate to take a stratified sample. Because you have distinct groups. And it would give you, a fair representation of the groups. Okay, I don't think I've really explained that particularly well, to be honest. Right, what else did I have? What did I said here? I said it gives a fair representation as a number of people from each group is proportional to the number in the population. So maybe something like that, but it gives a fair representation. But I think really why you want to take a stratified sample here is because you have distinct groups. It's not always that you would have distinct groups in a population, but in a school, for example, you might have years 8, years 9, years 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever. So you would have distinct groups. And here you have distinct groups. You have this group of people, this group, and this group. So you've got those 4 distinct groups. So here, calculate the total number of workers he should sample. Right, remember the total overall was 1,584. He wanted to sample 100 people. So the first group contained 340 people out of 1,584. That's a fraction of people from that first group. If you multiply by 100, 100 was our sample. That gave me 21.46. We'll come back to this in a second. The second group contained 712 people. Let me just check. Yep, 712. And that was out of our total of 1,584. Multiply by 100 then gives you 44.94. The third group then gives you 405 over 1,584, and then that's times 100, that's 25.57. And the fourth group is 127 over 1,584, and then times 100, which is 8.02. And then you've got to just round those. So the first one rounded to 21, the next one is 45, the next one is 26, and the next one is 8. Now, they should always sort of engineer this. It is possible to do this and to get, with the rounding, get a number either more than 100, so 101, or maybe less, 99 or whatever. But if you total those, you do get 100. So they've engineered it so it works, which is good for them. Okay, next one. So you've got this shape here, and it says calculate the length of BD. So I'm just going to call this, I'll call this my Y, because I'm going to have to find that in a wee minute. I have to find something else first. To find Y, I'm going to have to first find X. So I'm going to use this big triangle. So using this big triangle here, so I'll just draw that out again. What have I got? Just bear with me a wee second. That is 31 degrees. That was 6.2. And that's my X. That's a right angle triangle. We'll find this side X and we'll come back to the other diagram. So sine theta is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So that's what you have. So 6.2 times sine of 31 equals your X. Means your X is equal to 3.19324. And we'll go back to the triangle. We now know that's what we've just worked out. We've just worked out this X. We're now going to use this smaller triangle here to work out the side BD, which I've called Y here. So I'm going to draw this new triangle. I'll label it with what I now know is 3.19324. Notice I either work with perfect answers and a perfect exact answers in terms of pi or surds, or if I'm going to use something, I'll use like 5 decimal places and I know I'm going to be right. I have to give my final answer to 3 sig figs. So here we're going to use tan. Tan of 55 equals opposite 3.19324 over y, which means y is equal to 3.19324 over tan of 55, which means my y is equal to 2 and that was 34, if I've done that correctly, to 3 sig figs. Okay, next one. Okay, I thought this was a tough question. Actually, it said a box open at the top, and I'm going to underline this because I slipped up here when I was doing this because I didn't do the open bit. So it's an open box, which means it's got a solid surface here. This is a solid surface. Inside, you've got a solid surface there. At the back, you've got that, but it's open there, so you could plop something into it. So it's an open box. Open box, I know you know what an open box is. Okay, it says you've got the length of the box is 2x plus 1, and then you've got a width of x and a height of x. Show that, so it also says the surface area is 140 centimeters squared. Show that 8x squared plus 3x minus 140 is equal to 0. Okay, right, let's look at the surface area. Now the surface area, I've got this side and I've got this end, so that really is going to be, that's going to be 2 lots of x squared, okay? And then, if you imagine on the back side, and the reverse side, I've got that side there, that's the thing. I've got the base of it as well, would be a side, and then this front side as well. So I've got those 3 sides. Now what each of those 3 sides are, they're all the same, thankfully, so it's just 3 lots of x upon 2x plus 1. So we sort that out as 2x squared plus 3x upon 2x plus 1, showing all the steps here, and then that is equal to 6x squared plus 3x. Tidy that up, that's going to be 8x squared plus 3x, and what were we told? We were told that that was equal to 140. So bring it all to one side, you will have 8x squared plus 3x minus 140. Okay, next thing says calculate the volume of this thing. Next question says calculate the volume. To find the volume, we need to find x, x, and 2x plus 1. So you've got to find x. So we're going to solve this equation. So we're going to solve 8x squared plus 3x minus 140 equals 0. And I'm going to solve that. One, I got it. It actually factorizes, but I think, to be honest, I would just use my quadratic equation to do that. So minus 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4 times my a, which is 8, times my c, which is minus 140. Square root of all that, all divided by 2 times 8. If you tidy that up, you'll have minus 3 plus or minus, and if you did the square root of that thing, what you actually get is 67 over 16. So it gives you x is equal to minus 35 over 8, or x is equal to 4. Now this one, because we're dealing with lengths, that would not be possible. Just write that down, not possible. So that means your volume, remember your volume was 2x plus 1 times x times x. 2x plus 1 would be what? 2 times 4 is going to be 8, plus 1 is going to be 9. So 9 times 4 times 4. So I'll set that out differently. Why did I put these brackets in? That's just going to be 9 times 4 times 4. And when you do 9 times 4 times 4, you get 144 centimeters cubed. Okay, next one says the length of a rectangle is 5.4 centimeters, correct to 1 decimal place. The area for a rectangle is 23.21 centimeters squared, correct to 4 sig figs. Calculate the minimum value of the width. Right, before I put in min or max, width would be equal to your area divided by the length. So if you want to find the minimum of a fraction, you put the minimum on the top and you put the maximum on the bottom. So we just have to do that. So make this length, make the area minimum. So it's going to be 23.205, and make the length maximum. It's going to be 5.45, which works out to be 4.258, and that's going to be centimeters, and that is it. Okay, question 21, everybody's favourite, circle theorems. We've got, it says the diagram shows a circle with a centre O. SR is a tangent. Find the size of X and Y, giving reasons for each stage of your working out. Okay. Right, every stage I do, everything I do, I'm going to put a wee number in it to show the order, and this is the way I would do this first. So the first thing I see is by the alternate segment theorem, that is 68 degrees. And I'm going to put a wee 1 there. This is to keep me right in the bit at the end where I have to explain what I've done. Okay, the next thing I notice, I would do then is find out that this angle here, this is the centre, so twice the angle at the centre is twice the angle at the circumference. So if you do 2 times 68, you will get 136. Okay, what else can I do next? I also know that this is an isosceles triangle because OP and OR, OP is a radius, OR is a radius, which means this angle is also equal to X. And then I can find my X. So X I could work out then. That would be the next thing I would do. I'd work out the X. Sorry, I forgot to put in the 2. That was the second thing I did. Then I worked out my X was 3. And then the last thing I would do is I would work out what this reflex angle is. So that's going to be 4. So this angle in here. So 360 minus 124 is going to be 224. That's 224 degrees. Let me tidy that up. Absolute mess. Right, that was the second thing I did there. And then that was the third thing. That's right. And then what have I just found? I found this. That was 224 degrees, and that was the fourth thing I've done. Okay, and then the last thing, you've got 1, 2, 3, and then you want to find the fourth angle of a quadrilateral, so you can just find your y then by taking it away from 360 degrees. Okay, right. First thing, let's write this up then. So PQR was the first thing we did. It was 68 degrees, and that was by the alternate segment theorem. You then had POR is equal to 2 times 68, which worked out to be 136 degrees. That was by the angle at the centre. The next thing then, we found our x. I don't think I actually found the x, but we knew your x is going to be 180 minus 136, and then divided by 2, which got you 22 degrees, and that's because it's from an isosceles triangle. That's really where that comes from. That means the other angle, P R to O, was also equal to 22 degrees, and that is, again, it's an isosceles triangle as well. Isosceles triangle. And then the POR reflex, so the reflex angle at the centre was 360 minus, what was it, minus 136, which works out as 224. And then you're ready to find your y, which again we haven't done just yet. Y is going to be equal to then angles in a quadrilateral. Y is going to be equal to 360 minus 41 minus 224 minus 68. So your y works out to 27 degrees. So that's just angles in a quadrilateral. Okay, so my y is 27 degrees. What was my x? My x was 22 degrees. Okay. Next question, factorising one, says factorise this thing. Very difficult if you let it be here, these ones. But first thing you can do is you can pull out an a, leaving you 8x squared minus 6xy minus 5y squared. Now inside this bracket, my sum is whatever's multiplying the y. Sorry, whatever's multiplying the x, so it's minus 6y. My product is going to be 8 times minus 5y squared, which is minus 40y squared. So you go through minus 40y, find it minus 40y squared, and you see how you can get it. So you could do minus y times 40y, you get minus 2y times 20y, you get minus 4y times minus 4y times 10y, and if you add those two, you get positive 6y. So if we just change them around and did 4y times minus 10y, they would work, and because that pair of things multiply to give you 40y squared and add to give minus 6y. So we will rewrite this thing then as a upon 8x squared plus 4xy minus 10xy minus 5y squared. And that's a times, and it's going to be 4x times 2x plus y minus 5y times 2x plus y. Then that is a upon 2x plus y, 4x minus 5y. Okay, next question, one of my favourite types of questions. Solve the following equation, giving your answer to 2 decimal places. So this is where we take a common denominator. Just so on our left-hand side, we're going to take a common denominator of 3x plus 1 upon 2x minus 3. The right-hand side, I would just keep it as a third. So the top line over here becomes 4 upon 2x minus 3 plus 5 upon 3x plus 1. Now, I would tidy up the top line first. I would say that becomes 8x minus 12 plus 15x plus 5. And I'll just leave my bottom line for a minute. You can do these different order. So you would say then that's just going to be 2x minus 3. And tidy up the top line, you will get 23x minus 7. And still over 3x plus 1, 2x minus 3. Now what I would do is cross multiply. So what I mean by that is this 3 comes up and multiplies, and this thing comes up here and multiplies. So you're going to have 3 upon 23x minus 7 is equal to 3x plus 1, 2x minus 3. And then that becomes 69x minus 21 is equal to 6x squared minus 7x. When you multiply it out, I've maybe skipped a wee step there. Bring it all to one side, you'll have 6x squared minus 76x plus 18. So x is equal to 76 plus or minus 76 squared minus 4 times my a times my c, which is 18. And then all divided by 2 times 6. And when you did that, or when I did that, I got 0.24 to 2 decimal places, or I got x is equal to 12.43 to 2 decimal places. Okay, the next question is a histograms question. Typically my least favourite questions on a paper. It says a histogram shows a weight. The weights in kilograms of 894 dogs. Now, I hadn't even noticed they had said this, I have to say, the first time I did it, but I was glad they had, because it meant I could check what I had done. Okay, it says in this question, notice I haven't got a frequency density scale, but it says in this question, 48 dogs weigh under 10 kilograms. So that means this must be 48 in this wee thing, in this wee square, this thing here. So the height of that is... it's 4 wee squares, so it's and it's 4 units, sorry, So the frequency density then is going to be sorry, 4 times 12 would give you the 48. The area of that thing would be that. So that means 4 boxes, 4 small boxes equals 12. So 1 small box is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. Okay, which means 5 boxes is going to be 15, so that's going to be 15 there. Another 5 boxes is going to take you up to 30, up to 45, up to 60, up to 75, up to 90, up to 105, up to 120, up to 135, up to 150. So that's what we've got. So that's a tricky wee bit. We're now ready to do what they've asked us to do. It says calculate an estimate for the number of boxes weighing between 14 and 21. So what they want to get here is you need to find this area, and up to 21. So splitting this in half, this wee section. So that's really what you want to get. When you get them, mark them on your diagram, because you probably will need this later on. Experience has told me you probably need this information. So when you find the area of this rectangle, so 14 to 18, first of all, it is going to be, the width is 4, and the height of 14 to 18 is 75. So it's 4 times 75, which works out to be 300. From 18 to 20, the width is 2, the height of it, and if you have a look, it's just past 120, and by one small box is worth 3, so it's 2 times 123, which is 246. So let's mark those in as I said I would. So that's going to be 300. This one was 246. And then this wee bit, I'll maybe not mark this one on here, but this wee bit from here to here, the width, so from 20 to 21, the width is 1. The height is 2 small boxes shy of being 30, so that's 24. And when I did that out, I got 24. So my total is 300 plus 246 plus 24, which works out to be 570 dogs. So 570 dogs. Okay, next thing says calculate an estimate for the median weight of the dogs. Calculate an estimate for the median weight of the dogs. We know there is 894 dogs. So the median, because weight is continuous, you just divide by 2 to get the position. So we're looking for the 447th dog. That's what we're looking for. All right. So if you go through, we already knew this one was 48. If you work out this area here, it is 2 by 33, so it's going to be 66. If you work out this next area, so this one here, it was 2 by 45, it's going to be 90. And then we already know that this one is 300. But if you count up to here, 44 plus 66 plus 90, up until this point is the 204th value. So that's the 204th value is this point. Okay? And we need to get to the, what have we just said over on this next page? We need to get the 447th value. So what we actually need to do is we need to go into this class by 243 values. Okay, that's what we need to do. So that's where, very roughly where our thing is going to be. So here, what you're going to do, your median is equal to 14. And just making me note that was the 204th value. And we need to go 243 values into the next class. The next class was 300. had 300 things in it, and the width of it was from 14 to 18, so the width of it was 4. So that was, what I've got here is, you need to go 243 more values to get to whatever we needed, the 447th dog. So if you just fire this into your calculator, you will get the answer. There are other ways of doing this. If you find a nicer way of doing it, fantastic. I don't think this is a particularly nice way of doing anything, but it works. Okay, right, after that horrendous question, and that is not nice, what we have got is a very easy question in the end. It's very, very easy if you learn your difference of two squares, which people seem to refuse to do. So the difference of two squares is this identity here. X squared minus y squared is x minus y upon x plus y. So that's what you've got in this bottom line. So x minus 3, x plus 3. On this top line, you could pull out an x squared, leaving you x minus 3. And then, nice neat line through it so you can still see it, but it goes. Then you're just left with x squared over x plus 3. Okay, oh, here we have made it. We're at the end. Last question, tricky question. It says a solid cone has a radius. A solid cone has a radius of r centimeters and a perpendicular height of 9. A solid hemisphere also has a radius of r centimeters. The surface areas of both shapes are equal. Okay, so let's go through this then. We've got a cone. For the cone, first of all, you're going to have a slant height L, and you're going to need this slant height. So L is going to be equal to, by Pythagoras, it's going to be r squared plus 9 squared and the square root of that. So L is going to be equal to r squared plus 81, square root of that. Your surface area of a cone is pi r L plus pi r squared. Now the pi r L is a curved surface area, so that's pi r times the square root of r squared plus 81 plus pi r squared. All right, for your hemisphere, its surface area, the surface area of a whole sphere is given to you. It's 4 pi r squared. So half of that then is going to be, a half times 4 pi r squared. But you've also got this circular area on the top. So you've also got pi r squared. So what you've got is, that's going to be 2 pi r squared plus another pi r squared. That's 3 pi r squared. Now we're told in this question that these two things are equal. So just say put pi r times the square root of r squared plus 81 plus pi r squared. Put that equal to 3 pi r squared. Now what you can do here is bring the pi r squared across. So you're going to be left with pi r times the square root of r squared plus 81 is equal to just 2 pi r squared. What you could then do is get rid of the pi. So you're just going to r times r squared plus 81 is equal to 2r squared. And then what could we do then? We could square both sides to get rid of the square root. So if we do that, you're going to get r squared times r squared plus 81 is equal to, and square the right hand side, what are you going to get? Square the 2, you're going to get 4. Square the r squared, you're going to get r to the 4. And then let's just multiply out. You're going to have r to the 4 plus 81 r squared is equal to 4r to the 4. And that means 81 r squared is equal to, I'll just say that's going to be 3r to the 4. And then divide through by 3. Divide through by 3 here, you'll have 27r squared is equal to r to the 4, which means 27 is equal to r squared, which means r is equal to the square root of 27, which is 3 root 3, or 5.20 centimeters to 2 decimal places. And that is us done. Okay, if you have time at the end of the exam, of course, check your paper. Look for any silly mistakes that you may have lost marks on.